Most people believe success is a matter of luck, being in the right place at the right time. But life rarely works that way. True success is quiet, patient, and built through small, repeated actions that often go unnoticed. Most people move through life believing that success belongs to a lucky few. They look at someone who has achieved something meaningful and say, they were just lucky. This idea feels comforting because it removes pressure. If success is luck, then failure is not our responsibility. But this belief, while soothing, quietly steals our power. Luck is often a word we use when we do not see the full story. We see the moment of arrival, but not the years of preparation behind it. We notice the breakthrough, not the countless ordinary days that led to it. In this way, luck becomes a convenient explanation for what is actually discipline, patience, and quiet consistency. Life does not operate on randomness the way we imagine. It responds to patterns. When you show up repeatedly, when you act even without applause, you begin to shape the conditions for opportunity. What people call luck is usually the moment when preparation meets timing, and timing, more often than not, favors those who stayed committed when nothing seemed to be happening. Consider how nature works. A seed does not become a tree overnight. It grows slowly, invisibly at first, beneath the surface. If someone were to see the tree years later, they might say it grew by chance. But nothing about that process was accidental. It required soil, water, sunlight, and time. Human success follows the same principle. There is a natural order to growth, and it cannot be rushed or skipped. Believing too much in luck can also make us passive. We begin waiting for the right moment, the perfect opportunity, or some external event to save us. But life does not reward waiting, it responds to engagement. The act of showing up daily, even imperfectly, creates momentum. And momentum is often mistaken for luck by those watching from the outside. This does not mean life is always fair or predictable. Of course, circumstances differ, but within whatever situation we are given, our response matters deeply. The person who practices daily becomes skilled. The person who reflects regularly becomes wise. The person who acts consistently becomes capable. None of this requires luck-only commitment. When you let go of the idea that success is random, something powerful happens. You reclaim responsibility, not as a burden but as freedom. You realize that while you cannot control outcomes, you can control effort, intention, and persistence. And over time, these quiet choices shape a life that appears fortunate from the outside. So the next time you feel tempted to call someone lucky, pause for a moment. Ask yourself what habits, disciplines, and invisible sacrifices might be behind their success, and then ask the more important question: what small action can I take today, regardless of how I feel? If this perspective challenged the way you think about luck and success, share your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe success is mostly luck or mostly discipline? Your reflection might help someone else see life a little more clearly. There is a strange illusion we often fall into: the belief that dramatic effort creates dramatic results. We imagine success as something explosive, a sudden leap forward, a powerful surge of motivation, a single heroic moment that changes everything. But life, in its deeper wisdom, rarely works this way. Real transformation moves quietly, almost unnoticed, through consistency. Consistency is not exciting. It does not announce itself. It does not arrive with fireworks or applause. In fact, most people abandon it precisely because it feels ordinary. Doing the same small thing every day seems insignificant, and yet it is this very repetition that shapes the direction of a life. Think of a river carving its way through stone. It does not rely on force or urgency. It flows steadily, day after day, year after year. Over time, what once seemed immovable begins to change. Success is formed in the same manner, not through intensity alone, but through persistence. Motivation comes and goes like the weather. Some days you feel inspired, other days you feel empty. If your actions depend entirely on how you feel, your progress will always be fragile. Consistency, however, does not ask how you feel. It asks only one question: will you show up today? When you act consistently, you begin to build trust with yourself. You prove, quietly and repeatedly, that you can rely on your own word. This inner trust becomes more valuable than any external validation. It strengthens your character, and character is the foundation upon which lasting success is built. Many people underestimate the power of small daily actions because they are looking for immediate results. But life is not a slot machine, it is a long conversation. Each consistent effort is like a sentence added to that conversation. One sentence may seem meaningless, but over time a clear story begins to emerge. Consistency also frees you from perfection. You do not need to do everything right, you only need to keep going. Miss a day and you return the next, fail once and you try again. This gentle persistence is far more powerful than harsh self-criticism or unrealistic standards. What we often call overnight success is simply the moment when consistency becomes visible. Years of unseen effort suddenly rise to the surface. From the outside, it looks sudden. From the inside, it feels inevitable. So instead of asking, "How can I succeed quickly?" ask a quieter, more honest question: "What can I do today that I can repeat tomorrow?" That is where real progress lives. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What is one small habit you struggle to stay consistent with? Share it in the comments and let's reflect together on how quiet, steady action can reshape our lives. Discipline is often misunderstood. We imagine it as punishment, restriction, or a rigid system that steals joy from life. But in truth, discipline is not about force, it is about clarity. It is the quiet decision to honor your future over your present comfort. And this decision, repeated daily, becomes the backbone of true success. Most people wait to feel ready before they act. They wait for confidence, inspiration, or the perfect moment. Discipline, however, does not wait. It moves first. It understands that action creates readiness, not the other way around. When you act with discipline, you do not ask, "Do I feel like it today?" You ask, "Is this aligned with who I want to become?" Life constantly offers shortcuts, easy pleasures, quick rewards, comfort without effort. And there is nothing wrong with pleasure itself. But when pleasure becomes the guiding principle of life, growth quietly stops. Discipline is what reminds you that not every desire deserves immediate satisfaction. Think of discipline as a form of self-respect. When you keep promises to yourself, especially the small ones, you send a powerful message inward. My life matters. My direction matters. Over time, this inner respect becomes unshakable confidence. Discipline also frees you from chaos. Without it, every day becomes a negotiation with your impulses. You waste energy deciding whether to act, whether to try, whether to continue. Discipline removes this friction. Once a habit is disciplined, action becomes natural, almost effortless. Many people confuse discipline with intensity. They push themselves hard for a few days, burn out, then quit. True discipline is gentle but firm. It does not shout, it whispers. Just do what is required today. No drama, no extremes. Just steady alignment with your values. In this way, discipline creates freedom. The more disciplined you are with your time, your habits, and your attention, the less controlled you are by distractions, moods, and external pressures. You stop reacting to life and begin shaping it. The long path is rarely glamorous. It does not offer instant praise or visible rewards, but it offers something far more valuable: stability. And from stability, excellence naturally grows. Success built on discipline lasts because it is rooted in identity, not impulse. You are no longer chasing results. You are becoming the kind of person for whom success is a natural outcome. So ask yourself not what feels good right now, but what choice will I be proud of tomorrow? That is the voice of discipline, and it is quietly leading you forward. What does discipline mean to you, restriction or freedom? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your reflection might help someone else see discipline in a new light. We often imagine success as a dramatic moment, a sudden breakthrough, a powerful turning point, a stroke of luck that changes everything overnight. But life rarely moves in such leaps. Instead, it unfolds quietly, through small, almost invisible actions repeated day after day. And this is where the real magic of success lives. Small actions may seem insignificant: waking up a little earlier, practicing for just 20 minutes, reading a few pages, choosing discipline over distraction for one more hour. In isolation, these choices feel ordinary. But life does not reward single actions, it responds to patterns. Consistency turns the ordinary into the extraordinary. Most people fail not because they lack talent, intelligence, or opportunity, but because they underestimate the power of repetition. They try once or twice, see no immediate results, and assume it's not working. But growth does not announce itself. It accumulates silently beneath the surface until one day it becomes impossible to ignore. Think of nature. A tree does not grow by force, it grows by steady nourishment. No single drop of water creates the tree, yet without those daily drops the tree cannot exist. Your efforts work the same way. Each small action is a drop. Each drop matters. This is why impatience is the enemy of success. We live in a culture obsessed with speed where results are expected instantly. But meaningful progress follows a different rhythm. It asks for patience, trust, and faith in the process. When you commit to small daily actions, you are saying, I trust time to do its work. Small actions also protect you from overwhelm. When goals feel too large, fear takes over. But when you focus only on what can be done today, momentum replaces fear. You stop asking, can I succeed, and start asking, what is the next simple step? And here is a quiet truth. Small actions shape your identity. Every time you show up, even in a small way, you reinforce the belief, I am someone who follows through. Over time, this belief becomes stronger than doubt. Success is not built by heroic effort once in a while. It is built by modest effort, applied consistently, even on days when motivation is absent. Especially on those days. When you honor the small actions, you stop chasing success and begin attracting it. Because success is not something you reach, it is something you grow into. So stop waiting for big changes. They are already happening in the smallest moments of your day. The question is not whether your actions are big enough. The question is whether they are consistent. What is one small daily action you can commit to starting today? Share it in the comments. Your commitment might inspire someone else to begin their journey as well. Discipline is often misunderstood. Many see it as punishment, restriction, or a harsh form of self-control. But in truth, discipline is not about denying yourself joy. It is about choosing a deeper, lasting peace over fleeting comfort. It is the quiet decision to honor your future self, even when your present self feels tired, distracted, or uncertain. Short-term pleasure is seductive. It whispers, rest now, escape now, delay this one more time. And there is nothing wrong with rest or pleasure until they become habits of avoidance. Discipline steps in not as a tyrant, but as a guide. It asks a simple question. Will this choice bring me closer to the life I want or further away? Most people think freedom comes from doing whatever they feel like in the moment. But that kind of freedom is fragile. It leaves you dependent on moods, emotions, and circumstances. True freedom comes from self-mastery, from knowing you can act with intention, regardless of how you feel. Discipline creates stability in a world of constant distraction. When motivation fades, and it always does, discipline remains. It is the structure that holds your vision together when excitement disappears. This is why discipline is more reliable than passion. Passion is a spark. Discipline is the fire that stays lit. Consider the cost of avoiding discipline. Every postponed effort becomes a future regret. Every shortcut taken today becomes a longer road tomorrow. The pain of discipline is temporary, but the pain of inconsistency lingers. One builds confidence, the other builds self-doubt. Discipline also teaches you patience with yourself. It replaces self-judgment with self-respect. Instead of saying, I must be perfect, discipline says, I must be consistent. This shift changes everything. You stop aiming for dramatic transformations and start valuing steady progress. In this way, discipline becomes an act of self-love. You show up not because it's easy, but because you care. You keep promises to yourself, even small ones, and over time, trust replaces insecurity. You no longer rely on luck or external validation. You rely on your habits. Life does not reward intentions. It rewards actions repeated over time. Discipline is what turns potential into reality. Not loudly, not suddenly, but quietly, faithfully, day after day. And here is the paradox. The more disciplined you become, the lighter life feels. Decisions become simpler. Chaos gives way to clarity. You stop negotiating with your goals and start moving toward them with calm certainty. Discipline is not a cage. It is a path, and every step taken with discipline leads you closer to the peace of knowing you are becoming who you are meant to be. What is one short-term habit you know is stealing from your long-term peace? Share your thoughts in the comments, and let this be the moment you choose differently. Most people chase results. They want success to arrive quickly so they can finally believe in themselves. But life works in the opposite direction. Before consistency builds visible success, it quietly builds identity. And identity, who you believe you are, is what ultimately shapes everything you do. Every small, repeated action is a vote for the type of person you are becoming. When you show up even on ordinary days, you are not just completing a task, you are telling yourself a story. You are saying, I am someone who keeps going. Over time, that story becomes stronger than doubt. This is why consistency matters more than intensity. Intensity is dramatic, it burns bright and fades fast. Consistency is humble. It asks only that you return again and again, even when nothing exciting seems to happen. Yet it is this quiet repetition that transforms effort into character. At first, the results are invisible, and this is where many people stop. They assume that because nothing is changing on the outside, nothing is happening on the inside. But beneath the surface, something profound is taking place. Your mind is learning reliability. Your nervous system is learning stability. Your sense of self is slowly shifting from I try to I do. Think of consistency as practicing trust with yourself. Each time you follow through, even in a small way, you strengthen that trust. And when self-trust grows, confidence follows naturally. Not the loud confidence that seeks approval, but the quiet confidence that does not need permission. Results are simply a reflection of identity made visible. Long before others notice your progress, you notice a change in how you move through the world. You become less reactive, less impatient. You stop waiting for the perfect moment and start respecting the present one. Consistency also frees you from comparison. When your focus is on showing up for your own process, other people's speed no longer threatens you. You understand that you are not racing against them, you are shaping yourself. And this realization brings a deep sense of peace. This is why success sustained over time is never an accident. It is the natural outcome of someone who has learned to be consistent with themselves. Discipline sets the direction, but consistency keeps you walking it. Over time, habits stop feeling like effort and start feeling like expression. You no longer ask, should I do this? You simply do it because it aligns with who you are. This is when growth becomes effortless, not because it is easy, but because it is natural. So do not measure your progress only by outcomes. Measure it by how often you return, by how often you choose alignment over excuses, by how steadily you become the person capable of holding the success you desire. Remember, results can be taken away. Identity cannot. Build that first, and everything else will follow. What small habit are you trying to be consistent with right now? Share it in the comments and let your commitment become part of your identity. In the pursuit of success, one of the greatest mistakes we make is confusing activity with progress. We fill our days with tasks, meetings, and distractions, believing that busyness equals productivity. But true achievement is not measured by how much you do, it is measured by how well you protect your energy and direct it toward what truly matters. This is where discipline steps in. Discipline is not punishment, it is protection. It is the act of guarding your focus, your attention, and your time against the endless noise of modern life. Discipline begins with boundaries. To succeed, you must decide what deserves your energy and, just as importantly, what does not. Every yes to a trivial distraction is a no to your growth. Each time you allow your mind to wander towards something that does not serve your purpose, you are quietly depleting your potential. The disciplined person understands that energy is finite, and once it is spent on chaos, it cannot be recovered. But discipline is more than restriction, it is a declaration of intention. When you structure your day around the things that matter most, you create a rhythm that guides your energy rather than letting it drift. Your focus becomes a force, cutting through the noise, and every action becomes meaningful. Over time, this deliberate approach magnifies your results, far beyond what random effort could ever achieve. Discipline also trains the mind to resist temptation. In a world designed to distract, the ability to stay committed to long-term goals is rare and invaluable. The moment you choose focus over fleeting pleasure, you strengthen your mental resilience. You begin to see that real power does not lie in indulgence or impulse, but in self-mastery. Every disciplined choice, no matter how small, compounds over time, creating a foundation of trust between yourself and your abilities. Furthermore, discipline protects your emotional energy. Chaos and indecision drain more than your schedule. They erode your confidence and clarity. By consciously choosing how and where to invest your attention, you reduce mental clutter, calm anxiety, and create space for creativity and insight. Discipline is, in this sense, an act of self-respect. It is saying to yourself, my focus and my growth are worth more than distractions and instant gratification. It is important to understand that discipline is not inflexible rigidity. True discipline is adaptive. It bends without breaking. It allows for rest and adjustment, because a machine that never pauses will eventually falter. The disciplined person knows when to push forward and when to step back, always keeping the long-term goal in mind. Ultimately, discipline transforms energy into action and action into results. It is the invisible force behind every great accomplishment. Without discipline, even talent and opportunity scatter like leaves in the wind. With it, small efforts compound, momentum builds, and your potential becomes unstoppable. Think about one area of your life where discipline could protect your energy and focus. Share it in the comments below, declare your intention, and begin to see how small, consistent discipline reshapes your life. When we speak of success, many are enchanted by the idea of sudden breakthroughs, moments of brilliance or luck that change everything overnight. Yet the truth is far simpler, far quieter, and far more powerful. It is consistency, not flashes of inspiration, that shapes lasting achievement. Consistency is the gentle, persistent application of effort over time. It is showing up day after day, even when motivation falters, when progress seems invisible, or when the world doubts your endeavor. It is the slow but steady rhythm that turns small actions into monumental outcomes. Consider the river that carves through stone. It is not force that accomplishes this, but persistence, the unwavering, patient flow that eventually reshapes mountains. In the same way, your repeated actions, however modest they may seem, accumulate into unstoppable momentum. Every time you commit to your purpose, no matter how small the step, you are etching progress into the fabric of your life. The secret is not in occasional brilliance, but in habitual application. Consistency is not mindless repetition. It is deliberate and purposeful. It is choosing to align your actions with your values and goals, repeatedly refining your methods while maintaining the core commitment. Over time, this creates mastery. A musician practices scales not for immediate applause, but to embed skill into their very being. A writer writes every day, not for instant recognition, but to cultivate a voice that can resonate across lifetimes. Similarly, your consistent efforts in your own life build competence, confidence, and character that luck alone could never provide. Moreover, consistency protects you from the volatility of life. Motivation is a fleeting fire. It burns brightly but unpredictably. Discipline sustains action, but it is consistency that transforms sustained action into results that endure. When you adopt a consistent approach, you no longer rely on external circumstances or emotional highs to define your progress. You create a rhythm, a system, a life in which growth is inevitable. Consistency also nurtures resilience. Every challenge, setback, or failure becomes less intimidating when you have built a foundation of steady effort. You understand that a single misstep does not erase months of work. You know that progress is measured over time, not in isolated moments. This mindset cultivates patience, confidence, and perspective, qualities essential for navigating the complexities of life. The remarkable truth about consistency is that it multiplies. One persistent action leads to another. One day of effort leads to another. Before long, what seemed impossible becomes routine, and what seemed like small steps evolves into giant leaps. It is the quiet, almost invisible force that transforms potential into achievement, dreams into reality, and intention into legacy. Ultimately, consistency is not just a habit. It is a philosophy. It is the recognition that the journey, however gradual, is what produces results. It is the understanding that lasting success is a garden grown from daily tending, not a prize won by sporadic effort. Take a moment to identify one action you can commit to consistently every day this week. Share it in the comments below. Let this small, steady commitment become the first step toward unstoppable growth in your life.